Welcome back, ladies and gents. So here I am for another cult mini franchise review, and we got The Inspectors, or what I like to call 48 Hours meets Speed. That's right. So this movie's pretty much got all the tropes you kind of expect in a less over-the-top Lethal Weapon or Die Hard type movie. They were produced for Showtime in 99 and 2000 respectively. Had just lots of Canadian scenery on display. They're both helmed by Brad Turner, who's worked on all kinds of movies and shows, including 24 and Stargate SG-1. And I always light up when I see his name because he's just such a prolific TV director and producer, and you know he's going to do a good job at really just having some good actors and suspense building. And these star Louis Gossett Jr. and Weekend at Bernie's star Jonathan Silverman. And so, again, we're going to do our own special on Louis Gossett very soon, but, you know, what can you say, you know? So, award-winning character actor who just never had as big a career as many other A-listers turned B-listers, but he's always a given actor in any kind of project, and I will absolutely just cry when he passes away because he's just such a giving performer and always makes the use of any authority figure role that he has to portray. And here, you know, this is no different, you know. This was when the Unabomber was an actual scare in real life, and so they just decided, hey, let's do a quick, easy, you know, action mystery movie. And both movies, I actually did not see them in order because Showtime and channels would often play the second one more and more, and the first one you can definitely find, I think, still on streaming sites like Amazon or Tubi. But yeah, Silverman's another actor. You know, I've seen him in just a bunch of different movies and shows, often Canadian productions or TV guest spots. And he was just another actor who just never became huge, but still pretty prolific in his own respect, in that he just would show up in various productions and often just kind of steal the show there. Whether it was low budget, made for TV or direct to video, he's still got a pretty solid resume. And some of the movies were just made for, you know, families or sci-fi oriented, but it was still, I'd say he still has had a pretty decent career. And, you know, he's just another one of those, both these actors, you might know them just for their 80s hits, but that was just more than enough. And when I went here, they were basically at the second stages of their career, and they just both were pretty convincing in their authority figure roles, as opposed to others. You know, had it been a lesser production, it would have been forced to have annoying techno music and, you know, unconvincing performances. This one, both these films are just solidly paced, and even just the whole roster of actors, just the supporting and everything, have a lot of dry and just darkly amusing lines. And it just really goes to give you an idea before just in the second half, where it's just nonstop frills, defuse a bomb type standards. This still pretty much soaks up what was a real life threat in the 90s. It's like, how were the feds going to get good at inspecting, again, postal deliveries? They call them the inspectors for a reason. And sometimes this was at the turn of the next century, but it was good at just showcasing you know, their limited computer access and tags and just other ways to legally check and inspect just the material. But both films just do a good job too of just being more than just cable fodder by actually I think you could say just bringing up just thought-provoking themes without being just, you know, too distracting from the main momentum of the plot, or just, you know, being too over the top. You know, had it had some other movie star, it would have just gone for over the top frills, and that'd be fine. But, you know, half the time those movies aren't in on the jokes. So this one was pretty good at just being straightforward dramatics and just rewarding everyone for their patience with the frills in the second half. But I also just want to applaud it for just being so organized, because that was just such a rarity half the time with some of these movies. And so these are definitely some of the better Showtime original movies that premiered in the late 90s and early 2000s. So giving kudos to both. Solely out.
We'll return after these messages. Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
We let things pile up in the DVR, we add them to our queues, we wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters Podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US, we are in the UK, we are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, all things that we love, all manga that were originally published in the legendary magazine Weekly Shonen Jump.
But not every series can run for 300 chapters and have a hit anime. This is David.
This is Jordan.
We're the hosts of Shonen Flop. Each episode we look at manga that ran in Jump that didn't quite make it.
We discuss what it did wrong, what it did right, how the series could have turned itself around, and ultimately, was it a flop or not?
We're on all your favorite podcast apps, and you can find us at shonenflop.com.
Keep on flopping, floppers.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up